Hello and welcome to We're Not Experts, the podcast where we make up conspiracy theories and try to convince each other they're real. As always, my name is Matt.
And this is Jack.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and hop into it. We're going to do a few housekeeping things real quick. First of all, just want to send a big thank you to everybody. Really appreciate all the support we've gotten with this podcast so far. I know a lot of it's friends and family and a lot of newcomers as well. Some people from both of our universities. We just want to say really appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys supporting us, watching our podcast, or I guess more so listening to it. It's really helping us out. It's keeping us motivated to keep going, and it makes us more and more excited each week to see how we're growing and see how we're doing. Real quick, if you haven't, give us a follow on Spotify or iTunes. It just kind of helps us get recognized and helps us to grow. And on top of that, it really feeds our ego and makes us feel like we're really good about ourselves. Makes us feel like we're doing something right.
We want to feel like King Midas anytime we record an episode. So please follow us, like us, wherever you can.
Midas or above. That's what we're going for every single time.
Midas or above. Absolutely. And also, shout out to everyone who's liked our Facebook page so far. We've reached over 100 likes, which is pretty damn impressive. I didn't even think we'd get that far. So if you guys have a Facebook, please go like us on Facebook and leave criticism or feedback on what you guys think of the episodes, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you hate it and everything about it, let us know. Let us know why. Because
you could not listen to it. There's other things you could listen to, but
yeah, but I mean, yeah. Actually, just get out of here. We don't want you anyways.
Get the hell out of here.
What is your problem, dude? Get it together. My God.
But no, for real, if you guys have feedback or anything, please go ahead, post on the Facebook page, message us, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we appreciate getting those messages. It really is. It really means a lot, genuinely. All right, so we're going to get into our beginning of the show where we complain about something that happened this week. Just whatever it is that we have that we want to complain about that happened to us this week. That's exactly what I just said. Said it twice in a row, so now you definitely know what we're going to do. So, Jack, do you want to go first this week?
Yeah, sure, but I guess my only complaint with this is that no one else experienced it other than me. Ooh. This is one of the wildest things I've experienced in a while. For some of my friends here in Columbus, they've definitely heard this story already. But I was coming home from work, and I ride the bus to work every day. And where I work, it's right next to the Huntington Bank building. Big skyscraper in Columbus, where the Huntington Bank is headquartered, I think. Mm-hmm. So I'm standing at the bus stop, just listening to my own music, minding my own business. And there's 4 cop cars that pull up in front of this building. And my first thought is, the boys in blue just want some Potbelly, because there's a Potbelly sandwich shop right next to it. The boys in blue are just hungry for lunch, taking a late lunch break, because it was 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I mean, they got to eat regardless, though.
Yeah, but I'm 4 o'clock for Potbelly? Really? Potbelly's a lunch thing. That's not, you don't go there for dinner.
I mean, it's less, but that's the less crowded time of the day, though, so it makes sense. They want to go in when there's not a million people there.
I guess that makes sense. Also, 4 o'clock is a weird time in the day to eat a meal.
Yeah, no, nobody eats at 4.
That's too early for dinner, but it's too late for lunch. Who eats at 4? That's weird.
Well, I maybe cops. I don't know. Let's see where the story goes.
Maybe cops. Well, they weren't eating. I'm trying to think. There were 3 cop cruisers, and then a cop van, looked like a paddy wagon.
Mm-hmm.
And they pull up into the front of the building, and I don't even know how many cops poured out, 8 maybe, with their guns drawn.
Oh my God.
And I was like, all right, let's see where this goes. Maybe they're doing a drill or something.
Right.
No, they run to the front of the Huntington Bank building with their guns drawn, and they hide, picture a door frame. They're hiding behind the edges of the door frame.
Right.
And they're looking behind, looking over their shoulders and around the corner and stuff, with their handguns drawn. And they're they all of a sudden they give each other hand signals and stuff that you would see in a World War II movie or like
Damn.
Mission Impossible or something. And then they just all just run into this building. And I'm just standing there just looking around. And I'm like, did anyone else just witness that? And there were a couple other people like at the bus stop that were also had the exact same reaction. They were just dumbfounded. We had no idea what was going on. Later in the evening, I told some friends about it. We tried to look up a news report, but nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was no news report of it. So I don't know if it was a bank robbery. I'm just going to say it was because that sounds a way more badass.
Oh, hands down, yeah.
That I witnessed a bank robbery. So that's what I'm going to go with.
You never found out anything else about it? Like, nothing came out about it?
No. I've tried looking up reports and stuff, and I, like, never checked the news, but this is one reason for me to start checking the news. So,
right.
Yeah, no reports or anything. Maybe it was a tripped alarm on accident or something, but
you think the bank would let them know, like, ahead of time before they come in guns blazing?
I don't know. Maybe it's protocol for them. Like, as soon as they get an alarm trip, they just show up.
Yeah, I guess could be.
That's
wild, though.
That would
dude.
make
That's
sense
sick.
because think, like, someone could take the bank hostage, trip the alarm, and then just call the cops and say, "Ha, just kidding."
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that.
You know?
Damn,
So,
that's actually crazy, though.
But I'm going to say it was a real bank robbery.
Oh, hands down, yeah. It was a real bank robbery. It might have just been, like, some high-level, like, bank robbery stuff, like, has to stay under the radar. The public can't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's wild, dude.
Yeah, so
That's
like my complaint of the week is that no one else witnessed that with me because it was pretty badass.
Yeah,
so,
that's a bummer. Poor you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Matt, let's hear your complaint of the week.
Yeah, I got one. So I thought after last week, dog getting away, biting me, all that fun stuff. I didn't think I didn't think I could top it. I thought that was like the cream of the crop when it comes to complaints.
Is this about your dog?
No, it's not about my dog this time.
Okay.
It's about something unrelated to my dog.
Mm-hmm.
But equally, actually probably more shitty. And just kind of a bummer, but still I'm lucky at the end of it.
Yeah.
So Karen and I, we were going to go out for the night. Karen, my girlfriend, for those of you who don't know. We live together. I explained this last week. Go listen to last week's podcast if you want more information. But anyways, we were getting ready to go out. It was a Friday night. We were going to meet some friends at a bar in Highland Square. And they asked us if we wanted to come over and pregame with them. And we're like, no, that's okay. Like, we're just going to hang out and chill because I was DDing anyway. So I was like, I really don't want to go. So we just hung out until we went to the bar. And
Manny's, right?
No, not Manny's, no.
For those of you who aren't
Manny's.
familiar with Akron, Manny's is the place to go.
Yeah, oh yeah, the one place that I almost got in a fight where a guy punched Karen in the face. Yeah, love that place.
Yeah.
Love Manny's.
That's a
That's a story for another time.
We could do a whole podcast on Manny's, but we won't. So
Yeah.
continue. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine, dude. You're fine. So we were going to go down to Highland Square, and our fan in our bathroom had kind of been acting up lately. Just, it was making weird noises. It wasn't actually, like, turning on all the way. It had a lot of dust in it. So earlier that day, I got up there, and I tried to, like, get some of the dust out to see if that helped. Helped a little bit, but it was still acting up. So I was in my room, and Karen was in the living room on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And she heard and saw this pop. She said she saw, like, a little flash of light. And she yelled to me. She's like, "What was that? Like, did you do that?" I was like, "No, I don't know what it was. I didn't really see or hear anything. It just sounded like a little pop. I figured something maybe fell off, like the counter or something like that." So about 10 minutes later, she goes into the bathroom to finish getting ready. And she goes, "Oh, I see what the noise was." And the screen from the fan in our bathroom had fallen on the ground. And we're like, "Oh, that's weird. I wonder why that fell off." And she's like, "It smells kind of, like burnt plastic in here."
Mm-hmm.
So we turn off the switch, and we look up at the ceiling where the fan is. And the fan on the inside was completely on fire. Like, it was just lit up. It was on fire. Like, there was smoke and everything. We're like, oh, shit. Like we didn't even realize it at first. So she's like, what do we do? What do we do? And I was like, well, so I ran over. I grabbed the fire extinguisher. I pulled the pin, and then I couldn't figure out how to work it from there. Like, it was flipped up in a weird way, so I took it back out, and she realized what was wrong with it. So she, like, I was holding it, and she like grabbed it and fixed it. And then we ran back into the bathroom. I was holding it. She pointed the nozzle and sprayed, and we got that taken care of and got it taken out. And
Was this your first time working a fire extinguisher?
Yeah, I've never had to before. I've never had a reason to use a fire extinguisher.
Me either. I've never used one before either, and I'm always scared of the day where I have to use one. So props to you for. I'm assuming you did it correctly, right?
Yeah, no, we pulled the pin,
Right.
and then, like I said,
Yeah.
it was just like that. The actual place that you press down, like it was flipped up. I didn't realize
Gotcha.
I had to flip it back down, so I was like pressing the wrong thing, and then Karen realized what was wrong, and she got it fixed up, and we were able to use it. But after that, like literally our entire bathroom, the floor, all our toothbrushes, all our like medicine, not even medicine, like vitamins and stuff like that. We don't keep our medicine in the bathroom, but our first aid kit, just everything that was in our bathroom covered in this like white disgusting powder. So I called my landlord, and he was super apologetic about it, like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened, whatever. And so he came over the next day and checked it all out, and he said the next day when he came over, he said, yeah, I looked up that model of the fan that you guys had, and the first thing I saw when I Googled it was that they're prone to catching on fire. I was like, whoa, you don't say. Who would have thought? So
Interesting.
I don't know. We're just lucky. Like, I'm just lucky that we were still here and we didn't go in pregame or anything, that we were here when it caught on fire, because we could have come down to a whole burnt apartment. So that's my story.
Or if you held a pregame, and then that happened.
Oh yeah, it would have just been a mess.
Oh, that would have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mess is one way to describe it. I think it would have been great, but
I mean, I guess in the story sense, it would be great.
be a great story.
Yeah, craziest party ever. We set the roof on fire, baby.
College forever, bro.
Bro, I never want to graduate.
Fifth year all the way, bro.
Bro, I have to be a fifth year. Don't even say that.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I've already accepted my fate. I'm kind of dumb as hell, so, 5 years. It is what it is. All right.
Yeah.
So that's my story. That's my complaint. All is well. We don't have a fan yet. I don't know when he's going to replace it, but he said he'd get in there eventually. But yeah, our house didn't burn down, so that's good. That's
very
good.
good. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Alrighty, so what do you say? You want to get into it? Start talking about our
Absolutely,
conspiracies? Because
yeah.
by the sound of it, we both have some pretty juicy ones this week.
They're pretty off the wall, not going to lie. Pretty, would we say revolutionary stuff?
I would say, like, there's the Revolutionary War, and then this is probably right above it in terms of revolutionary.
What?
Yeah, we're breaking ground here, folks.
Actually, yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Right.
All right. Well, I presented my theory first last week, so I'll let you dive into yours first.
Good. I'm excited for this one. So, I've been sleep deprived for like the past 3 days, just because I've been having to get up at like 5 a.m. and it's kind of been miserable. I keep going to bed super late because
Why do you have to get up at 5 a.m.?
I've been going over to one of the local schools. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm an education major. I'm going to be a teacher one of these fine days. As long as they don't look into this podcast.
Not after they listen to this podcast.
I was going to say, as long as they don't hear about this podcast, I'm going to probably be a teacher. So I go over there in the morning, help out with some of the classes, and kind of like intern, I guess would be the word for it. But I've been getting up super early for those. But of course, me being me, I've been staying up till like 1, 2 in the morning. So in my sleep deprived, half awake state, I came up with this. And I'm really happy with how it turned out because I fell asleep in class today. And then between my 2 classes, I went to the library and wrote all this up. And so this is just basically a big fever dream of a conspiracy theory. And I am very excited to share it. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right into it. All right. So, Jack.
Yes, ma'am.
As you know, trees are a very big topic of discussion nowadays.
Love trees. Big tree guy.
Yeah, I am too. I think they're great. Well, I did until I uncovered the truth about them. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, get ready.
I didn't know there was a truth to uncover. I guess that's what this podcast is for.
Yeah, that's right. Like I said, breaking ground, revolutionary. So they're on fire in some places. being planted in others. Activists are always fighting for the rights of trees, encouraging people to do their part to protect them. But what are they really trying to protect? So you and me, we grew up being Boy Scouts. We spent a lot of time outdoors and in nature and everything.
Yeah.
And as we walk through forests, there are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of trees all around us. I mean, completely surrounding us at all times. Billions of trees in this world. It's really unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And you'll see in some places that there are absolutely millions of them in such small, compact areas. You look at like rainforests. It's amazing how many trees are actually there in such a small little area.
But the trees are constantly getting cut down, Matt.
They are.
That's why people are advocating for their rights. Because then it
fine.
Ultimately hurts us.
Yeah, that's fine that these sheeple are advocating for tree rights.
Wait, that these what?
Sheeple.
Sheeple.
Yeah, the herd,
Oh, man.
Just wait, Jack. We have a lot to talk about here.
Oh, man. I don't even want to know how much more I'm going to cough.
Keep coughing, brother. Get it out. Get it out of your system.
By the way, I'm sorry for the coughing. I'm, on the verge of getting sick right now. So, if the coughing's annoying, get over it.
It's good content. We'll soundbite it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I was thinking, I've actually been thinking about this part for a little while. Now, how is it that such huge, multi-1,000-pound structures can just grow seemingly out of nowhere? You don't see the dirt moving a whole lot. You don't see the dirt being removed when the trees are using it for their mineral content. And sure, trees get most of it from the carbon in the air. They get most of their mass. But that is a lot of mass to have millions and millions of trees. So I was thinking that's just odd that there are so many, and it seemingly does so little to the ground and the environment around it. I mean, if you think about it, you could literally plant 1,000 trees in an open field, and it could be completely flat, flat level. Plant 1,000 trees. You could walk back through there by the time they mature. It's still going to be flat as the day you planted those trees. So how are the roots
the day
moving?
Of. That's any plant.
No, I'm saying once they mature, it's still going to be completely flat. How is it that these giant structures with these deep root systems are not moving dirt above the ground? How is it that when the roots are growing down, the dirt isn't moving up? It doesn't make sense to me. Not at all. But Jack, I've uncovered the truth. I figured out why that is.
Oh, let's hear it.
Well, trees actually don't grow because trees aren't real.
All right.
Yeah. Take that in for a second. I have an explanation as to why we see so many trees if they're not real. So, I'm going to get a sip of water. All right, so you're probably saying, but Matt, I see hundreds of trees every day. How could they not be real? I've even planted them before. Of course trees are real. That's stupid. That's probably what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah. But also, what is your definition of real?
Trees are not organic.
They're non-organic.
They exist. They exist. Right, but they are not a plant. They are not an animal. They are not alive. So by real,
you're just saying trees aren't alive, but they exist.
Yes, but they're. I'll get into it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll see what I mean here.
It's a little confusing, but let's hear your explanation.
So, as it turns out, trees are constructed. They're not grown. Every tree, all the billions of trees on this green planet, have been systematically placed and replaced without any of us knowing.
By who?
Right? Well, I'm going to. That's part of it. Don't worry. This one goes a little bit deep. I know last week went pretty deep, but this one goes pretty deep as well. So, as we know, trees absorb carbon that is in our atmosphere. All the emissions, and that's a really good way that people are we got to plant more trees and erase our carbon footprint. It's really good for the air. It's helping our environment and helping slow down global warming.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why so many people are on Save the Trees, that whole bandwagon.
Yeah.
Well, the trees that we're seeing, Jack, that, like I said, are artificial, they actually are still removing the carbon in the air. But where do you think all that carbon's going? They're
Oh my
not.
God.
They're not actually using it to grow because they're
Uh-huh.
artificial, right? All right. So let's move topics a little bit. So, you and me, we're smart people, right? College educated.
I like to think so. Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part. Well, we know that there are billionaires out there and just other elite members of society.
Yeah. There's billionaires.
Yeah, and they have a huge influence in the media, in the government, and on our online social lives. And just a lot of
billionaires.
Most of them have some sort of say in a lot of things that we don't know about. All right, that's just kind of common knowledge.
Like Jeffrey
I mean, you look at
Epstein.
that. I was gonna say, you look at the Epstein thing. You look at Bezos. You look at Zuckerberg. There's some shady
Bezos
things
is
going
nuts,
on.
bro.
That guy is an absolute kook. But I'll tell you what.
I don't think he's a kook. I think he's an evil genius.
When I can get my Clorox clean screen wipes that I ordered literally yesterday that showed up today, you know what? More power to you, Bezos. But they do have a big influence. You know, there's no denying that. They are very powerful people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's what I think is happening.
Yeah.
I think that the ultimate elite in the world have created a new type of structure that we know as trees, right? Now, these trees, they do have the ability, like I said, to remove carbon from the atmosphere. However, they're actually pumping the carbon through these structures into a warehouse where they're storing all this carbon. And the reason, you're probably thinking, well, that can't be possible. That technology hasn't existed for the...
That would have to be a big warehouse, dude.
It would, and it is. But you're probably thinking now, like, I've heard about trees in history. People write and sing about trees. It's existed in culture and had a lot of influence for thousands and thousands of years, as long as human history has existed. That's what they want you to think. Like I said, they have a lot of sway over what we see and what we do and what we read. So they've been able to go back through and basically rewrite history and make up all these other stories and everything that you've ever heard and seen that have to do with trees.
Yeah.
So they've completely rewritten the history books.
So why do they store the carbon? What's the point?
That's next.
Okay.
Well, according to thoughtco.com, right, carbon chains are used to build carbohydrates, fats, nucleic acids, and proteins. And breaking bonds with carbon is an energy source. So basically, this carbon can be used as a great source of energy. And, they probably have, if you think about carbon, that's not the first thing you think about. But I'm sure, being their billionaire elites, they have some sort of way to take this carbon and transfer it into something that's actually perfectly beneficial and super helpful for the human body.
Oh, I can get behind that. There's definitely technology and things that the elite and rich have that we don't know about. There has to be.
Hands
150%.
Yeah. That's without a doubt.
For sure.
So, now you might be thinking now, so what? They're just taking this carbon and they're using it and they're ingesting it to make themselves, like, live forever? No, that's not what they're doing with it. They're feeding it to their bodyguards. They want to make their bodyguards absolutely ripped, just shredded beyond belief, and absolute superhumans of the mammalian human genus species.
Oh,
and
my days.
And that's it. That's why trees aren't real.
So
they just want to have really ripped bodyguards.
Okay.
Yep.
A few things.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of billionaires. Excuse me. Okay, I shouldn't say a lot, but a good amount of billionaires advocate for, like, global warming and stuff, like, not advocate for, but advocate to fight against, like, climate change and stuff.
Right, because they want more trees, so that way they can have more carbon.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So it's just a win-win situation.
If they look like a good person by saying, "Oh, save the planet, plant more trees,"
but then there's the billionaires that are like, "We don't care. Like, climate change isn't real," and they're still getting their carbon.
They're still getting plenty of carbon, Jack. They don't care because they have other business ventures outside of just getting their carbon. So they could probably take a small hit when it comes to getting their carbon resources, but also, be making more money by not advocating for it.
All right, how much does it cost to collect this carbon, store this carbon, and then to transfer it into their bodyguards? That's got to be expensive, man.
I mean, at least $1 billion, considering they're billionaires. I don't,
So
I don't know.
that's $1 billion every bodyguard?
Not every bodyguard, no. I'm just saying for the whole industry. I mean, we're talking probably for all the trees in the world. If I had to put a rough estimation on it, I would estimate all the trees in the entire world to produce this carbon for billionaire bodyguards would be around $500 billion. But it's all pulled together. It's not just
That's
one
it?
billionaire.
Dude, I would put that in the
$500 billion.
trillions. I would put that in the trillions, dude. You know how many trees there are on Earth? You know what? I'm going to look it up.
I want to know how many trees there are.
Let's see how many trees are on Earth. But, dude, that's so many trees. And then you have to have the technology within these trees. Okay. A study led by Yale University researchers have found there are over 3 trillion trees on Earth.
Holy shit.
This study was done... Hold on. But they're disappearing fast. This was done in 2015.
So maybe they don't have the money anymore to keep up.
So
the 3
maybe
trillion
they're
trees.
not at 3 trillion. They're at like 2.95 trillion now.
But Jack,
But man, that's so many.
But Jack,
trees,
do you
my
not
guy.
think that these billionaires paid? They obviously paid for this research to be done. They could make those numbers be whatever they wanted. They just said, you know what, 3 trillion, make it sound good,
Okay.
They don't
How
care.
how do you explain trees being around like in the past, like in history?
Like I said, these billionaires have basically paid to rewrite history. It's in our textbooks, it's in our literature, it's everywhere because the billionaires, they paid for us to believe that these have been around for that long.
Yeah, the LA Times says there are 400 trees for every person.
Cool. Yeah, I mean,
That
that's
is-
what the
that-
billionaires
so
paid the
many-
New York Times to say. So,
Dude, that's nuts.
isn't that crazy?
I just don't think that there's enough capital in the world to pay for that.
But what I'm
Like-
saying,
like,
what I'm,
I could
no, no,
d-
no, but what I'm saying is there's not really 400 trees to every person. Those are the inflated numbers that they paid to have
Oh, you're
that
saying this is
article
just
ran.
all fake news. This is all fake news.
Yes, it's all fake news paid for by the elite. There's not 400 billion trees or whatever whatever you said. There's no way there's that
3
many.
trillion.
There's not 3 trillion trees, Jack. That's outlandish. Come on. There's probably a good...
Think about it.
I'd say there's probably a good
All right, hold
50
on.
trees per person.
This says 400 per person.
I
But
know.
also,
but
your
that's-
whole argument is trees aren't real.
Well, yeah. What I mean by trees are... When I refer to trees from here on out...
What would you call them if you wouldn't call them trees?
I would call them artificial structures.
Artificial
Or
structures.
I would call them like something along the lines of carbon gathering, inorganic. I just call them trees. I don't know. I don't know.
So, okay. So, what are these structures really made out of?
Well, Jack, that's top secret. You cut it because if you go outside to your house right now and you cut down a tree, it's going to be made of wood. It's technology beyond our comprehension. So it is
Okay,
made out
so
of wood.
where do they get wood? Where does the wood come from? Wood comes from trees.
It's manufactured. The wood is manufactured. They're making wood. So they have a process to just create wood. Wood as we know it is not, it is not a natural product. It's not an organic carbon-based product. Trees as we know them are manufactured in factories owned by these billionaires.
And this is only for trees. It's not for any other plant life or anything on Earth.
Nah, other plants are cool. I think
Other
it's probably
plants are
just
cool?
for trees. Yeah.
So, like, when I'm eating spinach or broccoli or something, I don't have to worry about, like, eating a synthetic structure.
No.
Okay,
Like,
cool.
Produce
That's all I
is
really
real.
care about.
No, you can still eat your strawberries. You're good.
Yeah, dude. I mean, dude, fuck the trees. Like, as long as I get my spinach and strawberries and apples, dude. If I ate apples knowing that they were in synthetic structure, then I'd be kind of upset. I'd be pretty bummed.
Oh
Not gonna
yeah,
lie.
I think we all would be, because I mean apples are fantastic. I would be really sad to lose my berries, because I love eating berries inside a parfait for breakfast. It's one of my favorite breakfasts. I only have it every once in a while so I can treat myself, but some blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, a scoop of peanut butter with yogurt and granola. Dude, I would be devastated if that was all fake. But no, and it's not. It is real. It's all just it's just the trees.
Those are real. Okay, good.
Yeah, it's just the trees.
I mean, like, yeah, you can't really do anything with trees. You can build tree houses.
That's what I'm saying. Because you have some trees that are fruit bearing, like I said, but those are the real ones. They copied those to make their trees that they use. They had to have a template for it, and they went off of trees and just made them not bear fruit so people wouldn't care about them.
Okay. Let me ask you this then. What about like different animals and species that utilize trees for their habitat or their home?
I mean, like I said,
they've just adjusted to living in a synthetic structure.
It's basically the same thing as like putting up like a plastic birdhouse or something like that. Like an animal can live in it, but it might not be completely natural.
So even animals that live, any animal that lives in a tree is living unnaturally.
Unless it's a fruit-bearing tree, yeah.
Unless it's a fruit-bearing tree. Well, let's see how many fruit-bearing trees there are in the world.
I mean, there's a lot.
If that's a real
there's
statistic. Many fruit-bearing trees exist. There's just a list of different ones.
Yeah, screw a list.
I would say a good, 50 billion.
Yeah.
If we're going off the 3 trillion number, I would say a good 50 billion.
And that's great. That's fine. But those exist.
No, but I guess my point is the other 2.5 trillion trees
fake
are fake. So that means that animals that live in these trees, that only a very small percentage of them are living in an actual natural environment.
Right, absolutely.
Wow.
Jack, well, here's the thing.
That's nuts.
When a billionaire gets his mind or her mind set on something, they pretty much run with it. They want to do something and they have the money to do it, obviously, because they're the richest people in the world. They're just going to go for it. They're going to go all out, above and beyond. They don't half-ass things.
Dude, I wonder
so
if
of course
this
they're
is
going to plant.
I wonder if this is what they discussed at the Bohemian Grove.
What is the Bohemian Grove?
Oh, you've never heard of the Bohemian Grove?
No, that's
okay.
New to me.
So I was listening to, gonna sound super stereotypical, white 21 male. I was listening to the Joe Rogan Experience, and he was talking about the Bohemian Grove.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, what it is, it's a restricted 2,700 acre campground in Monterey, California. And it's basically this private campground and the rich elitist go to it every single year, and it's an encampment. And there's been pictures and stuff of you look it up right here, Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan have been seen at this gathering, and they pray to some owl god.
What?
And stuff. Dude, I'm not even kidding. It's crazy. But there's a crazy fee that you have to pay to get in. It's only for the rich and elite and powerful people in the world. But they gather. It's in California too.
Right.
They have an address right here.
I wonder if that's where they go to talk about the
That's
next
what I'm
tree.
saying. That's where they go because it's a grove. So they go there to plan out.
They're surrounded by what they have made by their product.
That would make sense.
That would make almost too much sense. That's I'm going to do some more research on this. All right,
so this says here, let me just give you a brief history about it. So Bohemian Club's all male membership. It's males only too. Females can't be a member. Includes artists and musicians, as well as many prominent business leaders, government officials, former U.S. presidents, senior media executives, people of power. Members may invite guests to the Grove. Guests may be invited to the Grove for either the Spring Jinx in June or the Main July encampment. So there's like 2 events. I don't know what the Spring Jinx is. That's probably just a party.
Right.
Because the July encampment's just when they get down to business.
Right. Now, my question real quick.
Yeah.
Kind of off topic, but, you said they have to pay like an absurd amount of money to get in. Who are they paying that money to?
Maybe that's where the money goes to fund the trees.
They all put in their bid, they get their trees, and then they get their super buff bodyguards every single year. Their new batch from the warehouse.
Oh my
Holy cow, dude! We blew
this shit wide open, man.
I'll tell you what, buddy. If one of us goes missing, don't be surprised. All right. If you don't hear from us next week, if we don't have a new episode out next week, we're dead.
Yeah, we're like being tortured in this Bohemian Grove.
I bet it sounds beautiful though. If I'm gonna get tortured, the Bohemian Grove sounds like the place to do it.
I'm trying to look up how much money it costs. But, okay, it's been around... How long has it been around for? It was formed in 1872.
So it's been there for a minute.
So it's been here for a minute. So they could have built up enough capital by now to fund all these trees.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think that's when trees were invented, which at this point I do, how much... Okay, so if it was in 82... You have to think, like, the boomer generation, they're all pretty well off, right? Like, they make more money than our generation is making, the millennials and Gen Z. So do you think that every single boomer was basically bought out by these billionaires to not say a word to the upcoming generations about how trees didn't exist before then, and that's why they all have nice assets? They all are pretty well off for the most part.
Yeah.
Anybody like us who says that trees aren't real, we're labeled crazy. We're labeled the kooks of the world. Do you think that could be why they're so well off and we're not? The economy's never been great.
Oh, I think it's just a cover-up to their operation.
It's all that tree money. They got that tree money, baby.
That
oh, my
money,
God.
Dude. We need to get in the tree game.
We need to get in the tree business ASAP.
Well,
I quit the podcast then. I'm doing trees from now on.
Yeah, we're not making anything off of this. I'm really trying to find out how much it costs to get in. All right.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Here, Bohemian Grove exposed. Cult of conspiracy. Okay, this is like right up our alley. Holy shit.
What do you see, buddy?
Okay. Cremation of care ceremony.
Wait, cremation of what?
So this image is called the cremation of care ceremony.
Okay.
So today the ceremony is held in front of a 40-foot high stone owl on the banks of a lake with robe-draped worshipers in attendance. So yeah, like everyone that attends, they dress up in robes. Let me look up some photos. You know what? I'm just going to like send you this link real quick so you can look at what I'm talking about.
Throw it in the Discord because I want to see this.
Yeah. I wish that we were able to, for everyone listening, have a video so like people could see
maybe
what we're talking
in the
about. Like sometime in the future, maybe. But as of right now, you guys just got to take our word for it. When we post this on Facebook, we'll post the link to this with it. Yes. So you guys can look at it and see what we're talking about.
The first person I see here is Alex Jones.
Oh, God.
Whoa. Young Alex Jones, too.
Wait, what? Where?
Literally, like, click the link you sent me in Discord. If you go to photos, first one, Alex Jones and Mike Hansen. Yeah, Alex Jones and Mike Hansen, dude. There he is. One of the original kings of conspiracy.
Well, he's the author of the Bohemian Grove Cult of Conspiracy. Oh. So they wrote books about the conspiracy behind it. That doesn't mean they attended.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's like, I think that's who made this website.
Alex Jones, dude.
But,
I hope Alex Jones made this website.
Look at this picture, though. Look at these pictures.
Of them, like, with the torches and everything around the owl. Guys,
Isn't that crazy?
For those of you listening to this, go to that link. Check it out, because this is actually kind of nuts. There are a lot of big trees around in this area. Huge
It's a
trees.
grove. Like, imagine, like, a grove in your head. Like, a culmination of these big trees.
Well, I think these are redwoods, aren't they? These are all redwoods, yeah. The biggest of trees. The biggest trees that that we have on Earth are what they surround themselves with.
Okay, so let me read some of this stuff, like, straight from this website. Okay, here's a quote from President Nixon. Anybody can be president of the United States, but very few can ever have any hope of becoming president of the Bohemian Club.
What?
What? What the hell does that mean?
I am officially intrigued.
Wow. Intrigued.
I'm buying this book. I don't care. Intrigued. Oh, tree.
Yeah,
I get it now. I see. It took me a second.
Wow.
I'm not the smartest one, but I sure am the conspiraciest one. Oh my goodness gracious.
Okay, so it's 17 days in July in a sacred grove of ancient redwood trees. So these are where the real trees are. Only
so you think these are
grove.
you think that the redwoods in the Bohemian Grove are the original trees? These are the only trees that existed before these billionaires created them.
Yes.
Is what you're saying. So
I'm hopping on this bandwagon. I'm agreeing with this 100%.
I mean, I don't think at this point anybody could really deny it.
Absolutely not.
Oh my goodness.
Here's some of the names. Okay, this is also from a website from Alex Jones, so like I don't know how accurate this is.
Yeah, don't take it, don't take it too serious.
But also, we're not being serious at all on this podcast. So, the names you'll recognize: President Will Taft, Calvin Coolidge, Herbert Hoover, Dwight Eisenhower.
These are some.
I Like Ike was there. Nixon, Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, and Bush Sr. and Jr. All the Bushes were there.
Oh my God.
Colin Powell.
Who's that? I don't know who that is.
He was a high up person during the Bush Jr. Administration.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what he did.
I'm a biology major, not a history buff.
Yeah. I don't recognize any of these names. Redwoods with some. Wait. Incorporate CEOs frolic in the Redwoods with some of the most famous creative people in history. Mark Twain.
Mark Twain was in the Bohemian
Charlie
Grove?
Chaplin was there too.
Get out of town, dude. No.
Even Great Britain's Queen Elizabeth showed up in 1980. The Queen is involved in these fake trees.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Jack, what did we just stumble across?
Matt, we gotta go off the grid, dude. They're gonna hunt us down.
We need to go to the Grove.
That's the only place. We gotta go to the Grove.
Oh my God.
Before we wrap this up, I just want to look up how much it costs.
Yeah, if you can find that.
Bohemian Grove.
I'll tell you what, if we can't find it on Google right now, I swear, I'm not kidding, I'm going to email the author of this book, Mike Hansen, and if I can't get a hold of him, I'll see if I can get a hold of Alex Jones.
This is like a pretty well-known thing, though. Like I just pulled up a Vanity Fair article about it.
I can't believe that because I have never heard of it. But if we can't find the information we're looking for, we'll send out some emails and see if we can't find more about it when it comes to membership and the pricing and everything. Because I feel like they probably keep it under pretty tight wraps. But
100%.
if we send out some emails, especially under our podcast email, oh baby, yeah, we'll get some responses.
It's a big area. It's 2,700 acres.
Yeah, that's
and some of the trees are over 1,000 years old.
Well, quote unquote. Whoa. Well, these are the original trees. Yeah, so they probably would be.
Dude, this is some satanic shit. All right, listen to this real quick.
All right.
So this is from Vanity Fair. This is the Saturday, July 12th. So 9:15 Owl Shrine. This is what it's here. Let me post this link in Discord for you.
Yeah, I want to see that.
By the way, we'll post all these links whenever we post the podcast. But
they'll be on Facebook and they'll be under the description of our YouTube channel too.
Yeah. So look at this schedule. Like scroll down a little bit. 9:15 Owl Shrine, Cremation of Care. Come join us as we raise the battle banners in the name of beauty, truth, peace, and fellowship. O beauty's vassals, let us together seek the counsel of the great owl of Bohemia, so that we may rediscover the wisdom need to banish dull care once again.
Oh.
If any of you guys can message us and tell us what the fuck that means, I would really appreciate it, because I'm baffled.
If
I'm
you can
lost for
decode that
words.
and let us know what that means in regards to trees specifically. Oh no, my dog's...
Wow, this is crazy. All right, I'm gonna roll through here and see if there's anything about dues. I saw somewhere it was like, oh, here we go. To join the Bohemian Club, you must either be invited by several members or wait patiently for decades.
Decades.
And then there's the $25,000 initiation fee and the hefty yearly dues. So you have to pay $25,000 just to be initiated, and then you have to pay some sort of due.
Dude,
year.
I guarantee it's in the millions. There's
Whoa.
no way it's not.
Dude,
I like
this.
I like this quote here. Wait, where was it? It was something about hold on. I saw one that okay, here it is. This is the night that size doesn't matter. Our little show takes over the big stage with big acts from Bohemian plus some surprise big names. That means big stars from big time. So basically Billionaires they're saying, "Yeah, we got small dicks, but you know what? We're doing big things over here." That's how I took that.
Matt, scroll
I think
down
that's
and
goofy.
Matt, scroll down and look at the names listed of people that have been, dude.
I saw a
What?
few of those. So you got the Bushes, Cheney, Coolidge, Bing Crosby's been there, dude.
Clint
Holy
Eastwood
shit.
was there.
Clint Eastwood. What are you doing there, Clint Eastwood?
The Rockefellers.
Clint Eastwood, you should be one of the supporters of Real Trees.
Teddy Roosevelt was there.
I can't believe the Mark Twain thing, dude. So this goes back. So do you think back in Mark Twain's time when this was maybe originally founded that back then, like, they wanted to maybe grow more trees? Like, that was their original goal was, hey, this is the only area in the world where real trees exist. We need to try to spread them. And as the new age came in and new technology expanded, they said, we can. They're just not going to be real.
Because Mark Twain was there? You think Mark Twain was saying that?
I think that's probably a quote from Mark Twain. Yeah. He was probably front and center.
This reminds me of a Louis C.K. bit that I cannot say on this podcast.
Probably something a little bit racist if it's Mark Twain.
But it's pretty funny. Like, Louis C.K., he's kind of a controversial name now, but I still think his old bits are kind of funny.
They're funny. I'll tell you what, Louis C.K., he is without a doubt one of the funniest comedians of like this era.
Yeah.
But
I just
boy, he goofed.
Oh man, he done goofed on that, man.
He pulled a big stinky.
But that just reminds me of a bit he did where he was on stage and he read a quote from Mark Twain.
Oh yeah,
You know what
no,
I'm
we
talking
can't.
about.
We can't.
But you
one.
saying that Mark Twain was there to like save the trees also made me think. Well, Mark Twain also said some other things, and if you guys want to know what those other things are, just read like 2 pages of Huckleberry Finn, and you'll
literally
see.
Any page of anything that he's ever written should probably tell you all you need to know.
So maybe Mark Twain wasn't all for the trees.
Yeah, I think he probably had another agenda, but you know what? He wrote some good books. Give him that.
Man, I can't.
All right,
dude, we're getting down the rabbit hole on this, but
yeah.
Wow, isn't that?
Let's pull
crazy.
back before we get too deep. Let's just deep breath.
Damn, we've been going for a while on this. We're like 50 minutes into this podcast.
I know. I can't believe that. We've really. I told you, dude. This one is. It's a little deep, but I'm glad we dove into it. This is what happens when you don't sleep.
All right, so we can't dive too much deeper in on that, or else we'll be here all night. So
I want to keep going.
Let's get into mine.
I want to keep going on it. I'm really intrigued now, but no, we got a show to run here. Damn it.
Absolutely. We're on a time schedule. We're very, very busy individuals. So let's hop into the theory that I have for this week.
Yes, I'm excited.
Speaking of famous people who have attended the Bohemian Grove, one of them being Ronald Reagan, I think I found something pretty groundbreaking about Ronald Reagan. So,
really? Okay.
Ronald Reagan, he's known by many as one of the presidents of the United States.
That's how I know Ronald Reagan, yeah.
He's seen as like a deity to conservatives.
Yeah.
To every like poster frat boy ever wearing the like Reagan Bush 84 shirts and hats. You've seen those, right?
How could I not have? Yeah, you go to literally any party in Akron or really anywhere, You're going to see Reagan Bush.
What? Any party?
Dude, at least back in 2016, if you went out, you were going to see a Reagan Bush, either a hat or a T-shirt, hands down, every single time.
That makes sense, because that's when Trump was running.
That's right. That is right.
But, so, something that Ronald Reagan did, that, like, I think he did, that not too many people know about. Well, let me start off with something. So, another famous thing that I'm kind of rambling on, but one famous thing that Ronald Reagan is known for by a lot of people is starting the war on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right. Yeah.
That was like one of the biggest things he did while he was president. He didn't want people getting high, which, I mean, makes sense.
Yeah.
Drugs, as Mr. Mackey always says, drugs are bad,
Okay.
But I think that there was a reason other than him, like, stopping Pablo Escobar and, like, the cartels flooding the streets of America with cocaine and things like that. I think there was a whole other reason to the war on drugs.
Really?
That was actually pro-drug.
So, okay, no, go ahead. I'm intrigued now. You have caught my attention.
Yeah. So, the war on drugs is just a front for what Ronald Reagan was really planning, which was to create superhuman soldiers for the United States Army.
Okay, go on. I'm beyond interested. I'm at this point I am intrigued.
I believe this is true.
Mm-hmm.
We'll dive into it. So Ronald Reagan, war on drugs. A big thing from the war on drugs was the rise of crack cocaine, since cocaine was limited in, like, sales and stuff. It wasn't really limited because Pablo Escobar was still making a ton,
right?
Like a ridiculous amount of money. But, you know, like, the price of it went up. If you guys want to, like, learn a little bit more about that, you should definitely check out the show Narcos on Netflix, because it's so good, but it also is pretty informative on, like, what actually happened. So, it's a very good show. Anywho, so, like, poorer people that couldn't afford cocaine and stuff would make a homemade drug, which would later be known as crack.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
So,
right.
I think Ronald Reagan started this war on drugs because he knew ultimately if he started the war on drugs, the cocaine prices would rise because it was harder to smuggle into the United States with a crackdown from the DEA, federal government, things like that.
Right.
And he knew that people would turn to, like, making homemade stuff.
Okay.
And he knew that these homemade, like, substances and stuff, if you mix them together and do them a certain amount of times, they will ultimately lead to your genetics changing and leading to superhuman abilities, like the X-Men.
Oh my God, no!
Yes. Absolutely.
So you're saying that Ronald Reagan, he wanted. So basically, let me summarize this in the way I understand what you're saying. So the war on drugs took place. He started the war on drugs because he didn't want cocaine to be there, because he had essentially a new product that would cause people to mutate and become superhumans who could fight for the United States.
Yes, it was a government program.
So crack cocaine is a product of the United States government.
Absolutely.
Oh,
and it was made to genetically engineer superhumans for their military.
That's deep. I mean, I can see it though, because I mean, you know, I want you to elaborate a little bit more. So why do you think this is the case? Hold on one second. I'm not going to pause or anything. We're going to keep rolling, but my dog wants to come in my room really, really bad, and he is whining, and I'm going to let him in because even though he bit me last week, I still love him. So, one second. Okay, Owen, you want to come in? All right, come on in, bud. You got to lay down, though, all right? We're doing a show.
Matt has to deal with this dog.
People,
Matt, your dog can't even talk on the podcast.
What?
Your dog can't even talk on the podcast.
I know, poor little guy. But I'll speak for him. Go lay down.
Okay.
All right. Anyways.
So, Matt.
Yeah.
You know I'm a big fan of Twitter.
Yeah, you're on Twitter more
Have
than...
you seen videos of crackheads on Twitter?
I
These
have.
people, okay, I'm not saying, like what they're, like, I feel awful for them, like, their bodies are deteriorating, they're probably, like, living awful lives and stuff.
Right, I mean, addiction is a serious thing, you know?
But have you seen some of the videos of what these people can do?
They
look like they get injured and they can't feel pain all the time. You can't tell. I think that's a superhuman thing.
To be able to take some of the blows that I've seen from, you know, people who are actively using crack, they mess themselves up. I mean, they'll get punched, they'll get hit, they'll get ran over, but somehow, out of all those videos, I've never seen one where somebody using crack has died. They always bounce right back up and take off running.
Yeah.
And now that you mention it, it is pretty incredible. I've never really thought about the punishment that a body can take. What is happening to them, and the punishment that a body can take for somebody not using crack. You know, they exceed.
Well, I mean, like a normal body. A normal body has like shock. You know, like you'll go into shock when you experience like a super traumatic injury or something like that.
Oh yeah, you'll shut down.
So you won't feel it
right down.
But like that can't compare to what some of these people have gone through.
Oh,
are you kidding me?
Without a doubt. I mean, because you'll see them literally. I mean, they could get hit in the head with a bat, and just keep yelling and be angry. It makes them even more mad. Instead of saying like, all right, you know, you win, I'm gonna back down. When they should be knocked out, they say
they don't stop.
They don't stop. They say bring it on.
They're like, bring it on, baby.
And
Beyblade, let it rip.
You know who else does that when they get hit really hard?
Who else says that?
Probably the X-Men.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah.
You were just leading into my next point.
All right.
So, the X-Men, everyone knows who the X-Men are, like Wolverine, Cyclops, Professor X, Iceman, all those guys, you know?
Yeah.
Team of mutant people who are outcasted by society, who have abnormal abilities due to their changes in genetics.
Right.
So, I think that when Marvel started making X-Men, they wanted to bring public awareness to what was really happening.
Okay.
With this epidemic. So I think it started off as a fictional story and stuff. And then Ronald Reagan saw this and he's like, you know, Marvel's really onto something here. So X-Men was one of the first Marvel comics ever produced.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know anything about comic book history, I'm a big comic nerd, so I know a lot about this. But X-Men was actually canceled for a while. It was failing a lot, and then they canceled the series and then rebranded it. So the series first got canceled in 1969.
Okay, and that's not necessarily really close to the time that Reagan was elected, but
when he was president. However, Ronald Reagan was the governor of California for 2 terms, the first beginning in 1967.
Oh, and that's a big state. That is a big state to be the governor of.
That is a huge state.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge state.
You got a lot of power as the governor in California.
Well, that's true. So he started getting into politics, probably into this Bohemian Grove stuff around this time. And I don't know how long he's had this vision of making crack cocaine a gateway to genetic change and superhuman abilities. But that can't be a coincidence that when Ronald Reagan was 2 years into politics, all of a sudden the X-Men thing got canceled.
No.
Because he wanted that out of the public.
Right.
Because people would get the idea of, maybe that could happen.
Right.
So he was like, no.
So
no, we're stopping that.
He said we need to cancel the X-Men, and we need to make that a real thing but we don't want people to see the parallels between the two. So when we get these people on this drug, this crack, that is going to basically make superhuman mutants, but we don't want them to think that we got the idea from anywhere else. This is all us. This is just what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And then here's some more interesting dates with X-Men, between X-Men and Ronald Reagan. So Ronald Reagan left office when he was governor of California in 1975. Mm-hmm. So he declined to run for a third term. Guess when the X-Men series started up again?
If you say 1976, I'm going to shit my pants.
Not 1976, 1975.
No! The same year! The same
year. Giant Size X-Men #1 was released in 1975, which kicked off the whole rebranding of the X-Men, and they've been going on ever since. So I think the people at Marvel knew what Ronald Reagan was up to. And they're like, no. He's dropping out as governor so he can run for president, so he can declare this war on drugs, to flood the streets with crack cocaine, and then turn all these people into superhumans that he can then put into his military, or maybe into his bodyguard. I don't know. Oh. He was doing something with them, but in the same year, they're like, we got to stop this.
Right.
But it didn't stop, unfortunately.
And now they've grown and they have more power than we could have ever expected with this new drug.
Right.
Kind of like the X-Men.
It did backfire because, I don't know how many crackheads are allowed into the military. Or,
but here's the thing, Jack. But the ones that...
Go ahead.
Okay, so here's my thought on it now. So there are people who they brought into the program probably to use this crack cocaine, and they're the ones who were successful in the program and are now working for our military, who use the super drug known as crack cocaine to fight the war on terror, to fight whatever other battles may need to be fought. But the ones who didn't pass the program, that doesn't mean they're not still addicted to this drug. So they probably still have access to crack, but they're not able to actively fight. So you'll still see them in the streets. And what I imagine that the government does is say, this isn't a super drug. This is a bad, illegal, illicit drug that you're going to get hooked on. When in reality, these people are actually superhumans. They just never got the opportunity to actually go out and serve their country and fight because they didn't pass the program to fight, whatever that program may be.
Right.
And that's why you still see them on the streets.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
But, no, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. And I definitely think it happened. As Huey Freeman once said from the Boondocks, Ronald Reagan is the devil.
Indeed. He I don't know a whole lot about Ronald Reagan. Like I said, I'm not a huge history buff, but I mean,
I don't know much about him either. But god damn it, I know he was involved in some genetic experiments with crack cocaine.
I mean, that was right around the time of what was it called? I actually need to look this up real quick. So there was this experimentation that went on in the government, basically where they were feeding LSD to people without their knowledge to see how they reacted with these different kinds of drugs. I want to say MX80 or something like that.
That was probably a Kickstarter government program to this.
Yeah, I figure it probably had a lot to do with it. I want to look up the date of that because I know it was...
Yeah, look up the date.
Okay. What is it called? MK Ultra. That was the name of it. So
MK Ultra. Sounds like a name of a beer.
Right? It sounds like a light beer, but they want you to think it's a hardcore beer at the same time.
That's literally just... Wait. MK Ultra? Is that Michelob Ultra?
Michelob Ultra.
Michelob Ultra?
Ultra. Whoa.
So if you drink Michelob Ultra, are you also susceptible to these genetic changes?
I
always knew there was a reason why I looked down upon people that drank Michelob Ultra.
I was just about to say I've never met a well-rounded person besides my mother, because I love her, who drinks Michelob Ultra. It seems like it's always people that you don't really want to associate with, who really enjoy it.
Your mom probably got the good genetic change from it, or maybe her genes couldn't be altered or something. She was immune to it.
She's probably too strong.
Who knows?
She does have the rarest blood type too. My mother does.
Oh,
She
my
has that
God,
one
this is
that,
diving
that
deep.
everybody wants. She has that blood type that's like 0.1% of people have.
What is
So
it?
maybe that's
which
why.
one is that? Is that AB positive?
I should know considering I'm a biology
We might not want to
teacher,
say on the
but
podcast
yeah, I
because people might hunt your mom down and try and get their
Right.
blood bucket and steal all her blood.
right. My mother's name is Elizabeth Warren. That is her full name, first name, last name Elizabeth, last name Warren. So if you're going to look for her, that is her name, but don't look for her.
Don't look for her.
Right. That's who my mom is. Okay, so MK Ultra here. I'm on the Wikipedia page for it. So it was officially sanctioned in 1953, but it was ended, Jack, officially halted in 1973. So how do those dates line up? I know 53 is a little bit early to start on it, but if they moved on from LSD,
So wait, 1973 was
is when it was
they ended it?
officially halted. Yeah.
So
That was 2
okay,
years
that makes
before
a little bit. That makes a little bit of sense. So Ronald Reagan left office in 1975, assuming to run for
Right.
president, because he was president from 81 to 89. It was
Right.
almost a whole decade, which is kind of impressive. But that would make sense. Maybe like he found out about the testing and then he got involved, and he's like,
Right.
let's come up with a new plan. So while he was governor, they came up with a new plan. And then for like the 2 years while he was in office, he was developing this war on drugs strategy. So they canceled it to let him develop his plan. And then once the plan got approved, he left office
Whoa.
to become president to enact the plan.
That could make sense. So, yeah, maybe like on their documentation that was eventually revealed, it said it ended in 75.
Yeah.
Or 73, I mean. But it could
Yeah.
have kept going throughout his presidency, and that could have been when, the war on drugs and crack cocaine, I feel like they probably went hand in hand in some way. So maybe they started with LSD, and then the LSD program stopped in 73, and that's when they moved on to introducing crack cocaine as the new super drug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or something like that.
I can see that.
My dates
Dude,
are all
I'm
mixed
telling
up.
you.
I hope that made sense what I just said, because my dates are a little mixed up now, but I think I'm on the right track.
Well, I don't doubt your dates being mixed up. This is a big deal, man.
No doubt.
This is a big deal. It's mind-boggling. I'm surprised you can keep your dates somewhat together.
I'm surprised that they haven't drugged me yet at this point,
I know.
right? With my mom having
That's
that super
crazy.
blood and everything.
Well, maybe that means like you're maybe somewhat like immune to it.
It could be because I don't actually have that blood type, but I am 50% my mother. So it could be that I'm immune to whatever drugs they might
Maybe
be
you're not
pumping
immune
into
to
me.
it. Like maybe you can like still get like those genetic changes in your body, but like the effects aren't as strong.
Basically, what
Like
you're saying
I've seen some of these crackheads, Matt. They like I saw this video the other day. This dude was walking with like macaw parrots with leashes on down the street.
that's awesome. But
Like,
most people can't do that.
You're telling me
Most people
no
will
normal
not be able to pull
person
that off.
cannot do that. A person that like trains with these birds, that takes years. You think this? If you looked at this man, you would say there's no way he's been training birds all his life.
No.
He probably bought them off of someone, or like stole them to go and try and like trade them for some drugs or something.
Right, and then he realized.
And then and then he had leashes on them. It was just walking them around. That's insane. I've seen like videos of like crackheads like hanging out with opossums and raccoons.
Yeah, dude, they make friends
Just
with
like in
animals,
harmony. I'm like, what?
and that's awesome. I love
That is superhuman. Normal people cannot do that.
No, there is no doubt that people who use crack cocaine have some sort of closer bond with nature and other beings around them. And it could go back to what we were saying about how, like, if they're in the military, if they're originally in the military, those who fail their training are the ones who are kicked out to the streets. I wonder if in the military, those who pass at the same time, they are also able to use the skill of communicating with animals to their advantage in wartime. So they can talk to these animals while they're actually at war and get them to attack and have some covert operations when engaging with the enemy. Because if you can talk
that's
to a
crazy.
raccoon and get them to go up infect an enemy base and like bite them and give everybody rabies and make them sick, you have a huge advantage.
That would have been crazy if they had that in World War II, and then they could intercept like passenger pigeons, and then like intercept them, and then like put a different message in.
Too little, too late. Damn.
Yeah. Too little, too late. Oh my god. Oh man. But yeah, dude, crazy stuff.
Groundbreaking
For sure.
Or even revolutionary. I don't know.
As we said before, revolutionary.
Honestly.
But that's my theory.
I love
for the
it.
Week.
I love that theory.
I'm behind it. I can see it.
Okay, and
people have been saying Ronald Reagan is the devil. I mean, if he was doing this, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good thing to do. He probably shouldn't.
It's crazy.
Probably shouldn't make, millions of people addicted to a drug just to try to have superhumans. But, desperate times call for desperate measures.
It's like in the documentary FDR American Badass. Hitler was making werewolf people.
He was indeed. He
was making superhuman werewolf people.
Damn. So I guess really, in comparison to Hitler, Ronald Reagan wasn't such a bad guy.
Oh, that's one way to look at it.
Yep.
But I just want to know, like, I guess we already talked about this, but, like, how the program failed.
Yeah, so I don't know if it necessarily failed. Maybe, like I said, you still see a lot of crack use on the streets, so maybe...
But they're not, like, in the military.
Right.
It's just on the streets.
But like I said, though, like, those... Because the ones on the streets are the ones who weren't able to pass the program to get accepted into this branch of the military. The X-Men super mutant branch of the military. So that's why they're still on the streets.
Yeah.
That's why they're back. I don't want to say back on the streets, but that's why they have gone to live on the streets, because, they were so messed up from this program that's still occurring, but they weren't able to actually completely pass it and get all their required training to serve. You know what I mean?
Or maybe you have to do a certain amount
it could be
of crack cocaine to reach like your full X-Men potential.
Right, they're only partially.
By the way,
mutated.
we're not suggesting that you go and do that. You definitely shouldn't try this at all.
No. Unless Ronald Reagan contacts you personally, don't do crack cocaine.
Yeah, don't do it.
And here's the other thing. Obviously, we're not here to make fun of addiction by any means. That's not the aim. We understand that it's a serious thing, but we're here to have a good time.
Absolutely.
And
but the point is, Ronald Reagan was up to some shady shit. The X-Men was really just propaganda to bring attention to what Ronald Reagan was doing, and the war on drugs was just a genetic experiment to make real X-Men. So
Stan Lee was truly ahead of his time with bringing light to these serious situations. He had an in. He was probably part of that Owl Club, or what was it called? The Bohemian Grove. I guarantee Stan Lee had his hand in that.
You think Stan Lee was a member of that?
I figure he probably was, Jack. Where do you think he got all those Where do you think he got all those kooky ideas?
I don't know, man. The dude lived to be forever old.
Yeah.
So he's seen and experienced a lot, and a lot of his stuff were just comments on society.
Right.
People originally thought the X-Men, or not everybody thinks, but the X-Men were a comment on African American struggle with civil rights.
Huh. I haven't heard
Charles
that one.
Yeah, so Charles Xavier being the Martin Luther King Jr., they're the more pacifist, peaceful people, and then Magneto, who runs the Brotherhood of Mutants, is more aggressive and wants to kill all the humans. People say he's supposed to represent Malcolm X.
Like Malcolm X, yeah.
His more aggressive take on it.
Wow.
His more aggressive take on it.
That's
one theory that people have about it. But no, it really was just propaganda to stop Ronald Reagan.
So basically, Ronald Reagan is Professor X.
What? No.
Charles Xavier.
No.
No.
He's more like Mr. Sinister.
Okay, I've never read the comics. I figured he was
I
figured he was the one who was in charge of all the X-Men, right? Like he was kind of like the head honcho of the X-Men, just like Ronald Reagan was.
So
just
that's the X-Men, but
right.
There's other mutant groups. But Mr. Sinister is like a villain who makes his own mutants.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a better role for Ronald Reagan then. See, I've never.
Yeah.
You know.
See, you're not as geeky as me.
Right.
So.
I never read all the comic books like you did.
Yeah.
Like I know you and some of our friends that we grew up with. Like I know a lot of them definitely. Like you guys got into the comic books heavy, but I read. The only comic books I think I ever read was like the Little Devil, Richie Rich, like all the really really old ones.
The funnies.
I read the funnies.
You read the funnies.
Yeah, I never got into the superheroes.
Oh man, you're missing out.
I really am. It's a bummer, but
great stuff, honestly.
I mean, if it goes as deep as we think it is, it can't be bad.
It's history, people. It's history.
Yeah. Well, I think those were a couple of really good conspiracies we had this week, Jack.
Absolutely. I think we should just let those simmer for the audience.
Yeah, I think you guys need to probably listen to this one about 4 times to really take it in. Because this went a little deeper than I think either of us expected it to, but I'm glad it did. At the end of the day.
And again, if either of us go missing or this podcast just stops, look up the Bohemian Grove. That's probably where we're at.
Yep. Go ahead and get a hold of either Ronald Reagan or
Ronald Reagan's dead, but
maybe Alex Jones then.
Alex Jones. Please contact Alex Jones.
Oh man. Well,
never thought I'd say that.
I don't even know what to say about that. If we go missing,
there's nothing to say.
Contact Alex Jones.
I'm changing my emergency contact from my mother to Alex Jones now.
Speed dial.
He'll know.
Speed dial number 1 is Alex Jones. Speed dial number 2 is Alex Jones's wife.
I wonder if Alex, like, you think Alex Jones, if he ever listened to this, he would think like we're actually being serious.
I feel like
I could totally see him like coming on and like giving points and stuff.
Well, you weren't totally wrong about this aspect. You know, you kind of hit the nail on the head with that one, but, you know, you missed a few points.
Folks, let me tell you something. The chemicals, were really in the water, not only making the frogs gay, they were making the superhumans. It wasn't really the crack cocaine. It wasn't Ronald Reagan's fault.
They put the crack cocaine in the water!
To make the humans strong!
Ugh. Yeah, that was... Alex Jones, if you're listening, please don't come to our house. But if we do go missing, please try to find us.
If we go missing Alex Jones, please look for us.
Yep, that's all we have to say. Thank you, Alex Jones. Thank you for your service.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that does it for this week, episode 3 of We're Not Experts.
Woo.
Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, like us on Facebook. Again, we're going to post the links and stuff that we were mentioning earlier up with our Facebook post and then in the description as well with our YouTube posts.
I completely forgot to do that for those videos last week about George Lopez hating on Eric Estrada. I apologize for that. I will post those actually in a comment on Facebook as well because I know you guys probably want to see those for everybody who listened.
Oh, absolutely.
So we'll get those ones up as well. We'll post all the links because we've been slacking on that end.
Yes.
But anyways, we decided we have a new outro as well to end the show on. So we're gonna try it out this week, see how it goes. So Jack, on the count of 3, let's go ahead. Do you remember what it is?
Hold on, I'm a couple beers in. I'm trying to remember.
Here, I'll put it in the Discord.
Oh yes,
yeah, you got
I
it.
Remember.
Okay.
Oh
okay.
My God, it's so
all right.
bad.
It's gonna be a rough one on the first take, but just roll with us. All right, ready?
All right.
3, 2, 1. Conspiracy.
See you later.
Bye.
Jesus Christ.
So bad. Bye.